welcome to One on One. In the studio with me today is Kemi Onabanjo. She's an associate partner at McKinsey Company. In 2018, she was the Future Africa Awards nominee and was also listed as one of the top 10 corporate leaders by Y9Ja. She was a valedictorian in INSEAD in 2016, and she's very passionate about people and professional development. Thank you for joining me in the studio, Kemi.
Thank you for having me, Irene. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, of course. So a lot is being said about entrepreneurship, but then seldom do we talk about intrapreneurship. Can you kindly shed more light on this?
So in my opinion, entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship are very related, and it's really about the context in which it's operated. So if you think about it fundamentally, what is entrepreneurship? It's essentially how we take ideas as a way to solve a problem. At the core of entrepreneurship is problem solving. When you do it in the context of a small business or an institution where you run it by yourself, people call that entrepreneurship. However, intrapreneurship is essentially doing the exact same thing, leveraging innovation, problem solving within an established organization or a corporate institution. So it's essentially the same thing. The only difference is the location and the context in which it is practiced. The other thing is, you know, as an intrapreneur, you don't get a fancy title. You might get,
you are, of course.
Exactly, which I am, or, you know, I hope to continue to be within my organization. You don't get a fancy title or a CEO label, or I'm a founder of this company or whatever, but you're doing the exact same thing. Every day you wake up thinking, how do I create value for this organization? How do I solve the problems of my clients? How do I solve the problems of our customers? How do I solve the problems of even the employees within the organization? And that's essentially at the core of what it is. So people don't talk about it because I think entrepreneurship is very, you know, glorified right now. Be your own boss, do your own thing.
Have your time to yourself.
Have your time to yourself, which is actually quite false, because as an entrepreneur, you can say you're a 9-to-5er. Entrepreneurs are 247. They don't sleep. Like if I want to order if I want to order something online, I would do it at 11 p.m. and I expect a response
at 2 a.m. sometimes.
Exactly. So this whole idea of, you know, you're not a 9-to-5, you have more flexibility, is quite erroneous, I think. The most important thing I think each and every one as individuals should pursue is, how can I be a value-adding member of whatever institution, whether it's mine or it belongs to someone else? How can I add value and how can I solve problems on a daily basis?
And then, based on your years of experience, right, as an entrepreneur, how well do you think millennials are taking the ideology of being an entrepreneur?
I actually think that millennials are doing it very well, but mostly for wrong reasons. So a good number of people who go into organizations sometimes think about it as a last resort because they were not ready to launch their businesses. And so they go there thinking, I'm slaving for someone else. If you're not working on your dream, you're working on someone else's dream. You know, and a lot of these weird
I mean, I feel like that's one of the myths that we struggle with sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, all of us cannot be CEO. Just think about it for a minute.
That's just the reality.
If we are all CEOs, who will work for who? Who will build your business if everybody is trying to be a CEO? And so I think the mindset is to be value adding at every point in time. Sometimes you do it for your own idea and for your own business. Sometimes you do it within the context of another organization. Besides, I've seen a lot of successful intrapreneurs building new businesses within the organization. So you have a group of companies, right? One person cannot be the CEO of all the subsidiaries of the company. They need to build other people to, you know, be able to take on these leadership positions. And as an entrepreneur, as a millennial, you are actually, you know, best suited because you're very dynamic. Times are changing very quickly, and a lot of organizations are looking to young people for the answers to the questions, because well-established institutions are crumbling right now. You know, the way we've done things for youngs is no longer the way things are being done going forward. And so millennials actually have a great opportunity to position themselves for those leadership opportunities versus going in with the wrong attitude and thinking, because this is not my own thing, I'm not going to give it 110%. right? I honestly believe that whatever your hand finds to do it with all your heart, do it with all your soul, do it with all your strength. Whether you're, I am buttoning your jacket for you as part of the prep for what you need to do, or I'm wearing it for myself. It should not matter who I'm doing it for. I should do my work excellently well. And this mindset, I think, is what we should all have going forward, because honestly, if you cannot be a great employee, you're going to be a horrible boss. You're going to be a horrible employee of labor. You will not even be able to nurture the talent that come to work with you. So how about think of it as a training ground, as a paid internship for what you want to go and do in future. And again, remember, not everybody is going to own a business.
Exactly.
Some of us have to work within established structures to provide the stability that is required for the ecosystem to work. If there's so much flux in the system, then it's going to be extremely chaotic. Exactly. Think about it as a body. If every part of your body was a head,
then what is
you have a monster.
Exactly.
That's what you have. You have a monster that cannot function properly. Somebody has to be the neck, somebody has to be the hand, and they all have their own unique functions.
Exactly.
Such that if one of them is not working, the whole body is out of sync. And so we all need to figure out what is our place in the ecosystem, what is our place in the economy, what is our place in the world at large, and how can we play our roles to the best of our abilities, such that you know that you did your best, and whatever the outcomes are, you know at least that you gave it your best shot.
Exactly.
And I think that's the mindset we all should have. Even if you own a business, it's the same mindset. How do I make sure that I produce the best product or offer the best service for my clients in a way that they get the most value for the money that they're giving to me?
Exactly.
And that should be the mindset. So as an employee, is how do I do my work in the best way possible, such that whoever is paying for this service or this product is getting the best value.
I mean, that's exactly what you do, right? I mean, you don't have a business name to yourself, but then you're helping businesses grow.
Absolutely.
As well. All right, there's this popular saying or thing that people believe that if you don't own your own business as an entrepreneur, then your financial success will be limited. How true is this, in your opinion?
Financial success or wealth creation is not fully dependent on whether you own a business or you don't. It is dependent on how you are able to manage the resources that come into your hands. That's essentially what it is. It's dependent on how well you can manage whatever resources come into your hand. And so, as an employee or an entrepreneur, hopefully, not all employees are entrepreneurs, but let's imagine that everybody is doing their best and looking for how to, add value. You get a salary. You can take a portion of that salary and save it, put it in investment, and use it, leverage the power of compound interest to continue to, aggregate that. And then you can make investments, buy a house, buy a car, whatever it is you want to do, whatever financial freedom means to you. Have the liberty to be able to go on holidays twice a year, being able to afford whatever, I don't know. People define financial success in many different ways.
Exactly.
But you have the resources to be able to do that. As a business owner, you can also do the same thing. If the resources that come into your hands as income is well stewarded, you can also build financial success. I honestly think that the consistency and the steadiness of cash flow as a salary earner or as an employee actually provides you some opportunity to do things. For example, you want to take a mortgage. Most times, a lot of the banks will ask you for your pay slip and all of that because there is predictability and there's consistency. If you're a business owner, because your income doesn't flow in as consistently or as steadily, and there are volatilities, right? So in December, you make a lot of sales, and then January, February is quiet. Because of that volatility, sometimes you're not able to access some financial products that can give you the boost or leverage to make those investments. So I think it's a real erroneous idea. Financial success is dependent on how you as an individual are able to manage and steward the resources that come into your hands. It has very little to do with whether you're a salary earner or you're a business person. That said, if you're in a crappy job and you're not getting, a decent enough salary, then it limits your chances. But it's the equivalent if you start a business and you're not making enough sales. It's an income question. If you're not making sufficient income, then you're just as financially stranded, as somebody who is in a poorly paying job. So I think it's important for us to remember that financial success, and I'm saying it again and again and again, is dependent on how you as an individual are able to steward the resources that come into your hands, either through a job or through a business.
All right. And when people, read about you or listen to this, one would think, oh, she already had it all figured out, out of school. I mean, Kemi finished with the first class, went to McKinsey, and then from there, was graduating in INSEAD, and then went back to McKinsey, now a senior partner, One would think that you had this all figured out. Did you really have it all figured out? Or, a lot of young people struggle with this question. What am I going to do with my life?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
You are still trying to figure it out?
Believe it, I'm still trying to figure it out. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody has it figured out. I think Steve Jobs, and this is a very common quote that we say a lot, we can only connect the dots backwards. We cannot connect it forward. We live life forward, but we only connect the dots backwards. So now I reflect on my journey, I can be like, oh, that's why this made sense, or why. In the moment, I wasn't, thinking about it. At the point when I graduated, there was no McKinsey in Nigeria. So there's no way I could have, in 2007, mapped out this great life and included McKinsey in it, because there was no McKinsey. And this is what we say about the fact that a lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years. And
the jobs that would exist by 2030 have not even been created yet. So it's important not to live your life waiting on the future, or having this great plan and you're so rigid and you stick to it and you don't change. It's important to be dynamic. So I'm still trying to figure it out. At the time when I graduated, I wanted to work in HR. I wanted to be an image consultant. There are many things that I wanted to be. But the one thing that I think has helped is I have tried out many different things. So I didn't go straight to McKinsey. I worked at Zenith Bank. I served there. I did customer service. I did some work in marketing, I was an in-house marketer. And then I worked in card services when I was retained and came back to Lagos. And I really liked business analysis. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then I went on to Ericsson and did multiple different roles at Ericsson as a way to explore.
Did you think business was not my thing? I'd rather just work in an organization rather than, have a product to my name, Kemi Onabanjo?
Well, not
AKA PPP
yeah.
or something.
KO.
Yes, exactly.
No, actually, I always wanted to work in structured organizations. I always wanted to do that. When I was in school, actually, I sold stuff. I was a trader. I went to Dubai on holiday, and then I bought pashminas. Best believe, I've sold things in my life. I bought pashminas. I always thought, what are the things that I struggle to find, that I like and I can't find easily? And so I just thought, pashminas, I was always cold. I'm always cold. I mean, the Lord is working on me, but back then I used to always be cold. Everywhere was always cold, but I didn't like sweaters because you get in the room, it's cold, you walk out, it's hot, and it's just a bit of a hassle to put on and put off. And so I bought a lot of shawls. I really liked shawls. I found them to be beautiful accessories that keep you warm. So I bought a lot of shawls, and I bought a lot of bracelets, and I bought ties. Right, in Covenant University, guys wore ties, and I thought their ties are so boring. So I bought, lots of beautiful, fancy ties, and I sold them. So I've actually traded in my life. I've sold things. At some point, I was selling wristwatches. Yeah. At some point, I was selling posters. These life-size posters of Thierry Henry and what we had. Yeah, exactly. I sold them too.
To make your room look all glamorous.
Exactly. So I've sold things, but I always knew that I wanted to work in a structured organization, mainly because I wasn't sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I thought it would be good to get into these organizations and explore, right? So I had an offer with one of the audit firms, and they put me in one department. And I had another offer from Ericsson, which was a management training program, which meant you could do rotations.
Different things.
Even though the money was more from the consulting firm, I chose to go with Ericsson because it gave me the opportunity to explore. And I think that's something that young people should do more. Just explore. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you like. You don't know.
You may think
you know, but until you experience new things, you really have no clue. And so I think the big push for me is explore. I've been very exploratory with my career. I did banking. I was like, yeah, I don't like it. So, and then I went into tech because I had a computer science degree, and I thought it would be good to use this degree and not just
not be money wasted.
Exactly. And I got into Ericsson, and I did some tech roles, but I also realized I didn't really enjoy it. And then I moved on to do other like operational roles involving people and communications. And that's how I found, okay, I like this business side of things. And then I tried out consulting. I tried out for Accenture. I failed the test, you know. But when, you know, McKinsey came, I tried again, and this time I got it. And even within McKinsey, up for the first 4 years, I never did the same project twice. I would go and explore different sectors, different topics, again, as a way to really...
new challenges.
Exactly, to also find out what my sweet spot was. And so I would really encourage people, you cannot figure it out sitting down. You need to move. You need to go and try it out. The only way that you know you don't like something is after you've tried it. Even if with food. Like, you can't just look at it and be like, I don't like it. Try it.
You have to try it
and
first.
then decide that you don't like it. But while you're doing that, you also don't want to look schizophrenic and changing jobs every 3 months, right? So get in there. 3 months is too short a time to decide you don't like something. Get in, study, understand the nitty-gritty, and then make a decision as to whether you like it or not. But while you're there, make sure that you're giving it your best shot and you're doing excellent work to the best of your abilities. And for me, that's how my career, it's not even a ladder, it's like a jungle rope, you know, here and then we go here and then we go here. But in all of this, I've learned so much. And the things that I learned, you know, at the beginning of my career, I'm still finding them now. You know, things are popping up and I'm like, oh, when I worked at Zenith Bank, we did XYZ. I have a contact from there and then I can still use it for my clients now.
So the dots are sort of connected.
The dots are coming together. The pencil is still faint, you know, and so it's still dotted lines and we can erase it. But I know that eventually it will all make sense. It will all add up. There's no wasted experience as far as I know. So, yeah. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still very young, so I still have...
We all are.
Yeah, you know, they say we have 2 or 3 careers in our lifetime. If you're going to work till you're 60 and you start working at 25, that's a good 35 years of work. And unlike our parents who stayed in one organization till they retired, the world of work is so dynamic now. It's possible to have 3 careers, 10 years, 10 years, 15 years. And it's perfect. So, you know, maybe it will soon be time for my next career. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
All right, guys, very interesting conversation, as you would agree with me. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll continue with Kemi Onabanjo. You're still watching Plus TV Africa. Thank you very much for staying with us. All right, Kemi, so what are those frequent mistakes that employees make that potentially reduces their ability to attain a very high level of career success?
There's a whole block of...
I can imagine.
of literature on the career limiting mistakes we make sometimes. And the big one for me would be not being emotionally intelligent. And at the core of that is really about how do you manage people. I think that if you cannot manage people, your bosses, your peers, you cannot grow within the organization. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the evaluation systems are people-based. Somebody's going to write your review. People are going to talk about you. People are going to decide if they want to work with you or not. And so being able to manage people is a key skill that is not taught in schools, sadly, that employees really, really need to master. And not just employees. Even if you run your business, you need to be able to understand how to manage your customers, your staff. Otherwise, you're going to be alone trying to, you know, change the world, which is impossible. So I think that's one big mistake, not being emotionally intelligent enough to manage your relationships. Even if you want to leave a job, they will ask for a recommendation. Most organizations ask the last employer to give a reference. And if you've, you know, burnt bridges and, you know, managed to mess up all the relationships there with your bad attitude and character, then it's going to be tough for them to give you a good recommendation. These days, a lot of interview panels actually, you know, do things that can tell your behavioral preferences. And people make decisions about you even before you get into the organization. So if you want to, continue to grow in your career, you need to learn how to manage people. And people are not trees, they move. So your boss in your other organization might be your boss 3 jobs ahead, right? Or their brother or their spouse or somebody that was in your team is waiting for you 3 jobs ahead, right? So it's really important to manage relationships. I think that's one mistake we make a lot. I don't know, somehow we just think that you can just up and go and that's the end. No, the movie doesn't end there.
Like the popular saying, the world is a very small place.
It's a very small place, and it's a very small round place, and things keep revolving, right? So I think that's one big thing. The other thing is not imagining that your work will speak for itself and not acting as the #1 advocate of your work. And I'm not talking about packaging. I'm not talking about doing shoddy work and talking it up a big game, hoping that people will buy it. I'm talking about doing quality work and just assuming that because your work is so good, people would know. No. Your document is not a talking being. You're the one that's going to have to present the work that you've done. And so I think being able to learn very great communication skills such that you've done the thinking, you've done the analysis, you've done this amazing work, but being able to communicate it is so key. And so another mistake people make is not being able to communicate their work effectively. Communicate their thoughts effectively, communicate their ideas in a crisp, clear, and actionable way. And you don't want to be that person in the boardroom that when you start talking, everybody's like, oh my God.
Because she comes again.
You're going to ramble on for 5 minutes, right? I think effective communication is something else that people don't pay enough attention to, but can be a complete game changer. Because if you're going to end up being the CEO of the company, you're going to be the #1 spokesperson for that company. And the organization and the board of directors want to be sure that they're getting a really good spokesperson that is not going to cause all the years of work to go down the drain. So emotional intelligence, effective communication, and finally just some confidence. This is very applicable to introverts, shy people, and mostly women, where you just are shy to speak up. In meetings, you don't speak up. In gatherings, you are in the back chit-chatting with your friend instead of talking to the people that really matter. I think it's important to build that confidence to be able to speak up. I'm still working on it. Sometimes I'm in some meetings and I'm like, Unfortunately, the thing you're thinking, somebody else is going to say it if you don't say it first. And you want to be, as we said earlier, you want to be known as a value-adding person. And so the value you're adding is not going to be inside your body. You're going to have to say it out. And so having the confidence to be able to engage at different levels with your superiors, people who are working with you, your peers, and also people who are working in your team that you're leading, you need to be able to develop that confidence to speak up and make sure that you're not a silent beaver. In addition to that, I think if you're doing great work, you're fine. All of this is on top of doing really good work. Stay out of office gossip, stay out of office politics. Like, be aware of the politics, but don't be the one that's pushing. Exactly. Be aware of it. Being unaware of it is a mistake too, because you think the world is all great and dandy, and you're looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses. Wake up. Things are happening around you. You need to be very aware, but don't get caught up in it. Focus on doing excellent work, managing people, communicating your work effectively. And I think if your village people are not chasing you, you should be good.
All right, finally, what would you say are the things that have kept you winning in this journey?
This one is a bonus one, What are the things that have kept me winning? Number one, God. I'm a person of faith, and my faith is so central and fundamental to me. I honestly believe that it's the source of whatever wisdom, grace, strength that I exhibit. And so having a strong foundation in God has been very helpful. It's helped me in my decision making. It's helped me in, difficult situations where I've had to figure out what do I want to do. There are times when I'm thinking through problems and I, get a burst of inspiration, but I know it's really just, God helping me. Literally, I am small girl helped by a very big God, right? So I think that's the first thing. And my faith is so central to who I am, such that even when I'm out of sync, I can tell, just I'm not as sharp as I should be. So the other principles that have helped me on this journey, in addition to my faith, would be committing to doing excellent work. Excellence is the best deterrent to racism, sexism, any other ism, tribalism, whatever ism you want to bring into the workplace or bring into life. Excellence is such a great deterrent to those things because nobody can deny excellent work. And so I think committing to excellent work, which is hard, because it's easy to do half-baked stuff. It takes less time, takes less effort, takes less brain work, takes less, and it's the easy route. And fundamentally, we are lazy people. As human beings, we are lazy. We are always looking for the shortest route out of anything. And so making that decision to commit to doing quality work at all times is another thing that has really helped, because people then know you as a reliable team member and they want to work with you, and they will give you opportunities and allow you to try out new things because they know that you will give it your best shot. So I won't say hard work, because, you know, even the person pushing the wheelbarrow is working hard. It's really committing to excellent work, I think, is another thing that has been very helpful. And I've also just had really good bosses. That one is completely out of my control. You don't choose your boss. You go into an organization, they assign you to a person to work with, so you don't choose your boss. This is completely out of my control, but I've really had the good fortune, the good blessing, the good favor of having very good bosses who have nurtured me, who have given me opportunities, who have taken bets on me, you know, when they're not even sure I can do it, but they give me the opportunity. And when I mess up, they cover me and teach me how to do it better. So it's not all been me, right? Most of the things that have helped me are things that have been outside my control, right? And I don't think we talk about the role of luck enough in our journeys. We don't. A lot of people who are very successful today, yes, they're hardworking, yes, they're talented, but they've also enjoyed a good dose of luck. I've enjoyed a lot of luck. In faith, we call it favor, but I know that I've enjoyed a lot of it as well. And so it's important that in addition to doing excellent work, you recognize that you're not the only one doing excellent work. Other people are doing it too, but somehow yours is preferred. And that is a function of luck or favor. So I've had the good fortune of having good bosses as well. I think those would be the three big things I would say that have helped. My faith, committing to doing excellent work at all times, no matter how difficult and painful it is, and just having the good luck and fortune of having good bosses who have nurtured me and helped me grow.
All right, thank you so much, Kemi, for joining me in the studio.
Thank you, Irene. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
And for those of you watching at home, that will be all on one-on-one at this hour. Remember, you're still watching Plus TV Africa. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Bye. Do have a nice day.